Hello friends. So before I start this video, I want to make a very important announcement, and it is so important that I decided to even write it to make sure that there is no confusion about what is happening here. Okay, so I hope you can read this. I am not qualified to help or advise you. Okay, I am merely narrating my life experiences. Don't follow my advice, and I'm being dead serious here, right? I am not qualified to advise anyone. Hell, I am not even qualified to advise myself. Okay, all I am doing here is merely narrating what happened to me. That's all. If you can get some clues from it and apply it to your own life situation, then well and good. If not, that's fine too. There are no correct choices in life. Every choice has its merits and demerits. Okay, so if you feel that there is a right answer and wrong answer in life, I don't think that that is the case. Every answer is right in its own way. I am unqualified to advise anyone, even myself. Okay, so don't take me too seriously. Please don't. And I'm being dead serious here. I'm not trying to be funny, because I see some people asking me, especially younger people, asking me some questions about what they should do in life and all that. And hey, I don't even know what I should do, and I'm going to be 50 years old soon. How can I advise you? So, this is very important. Please remember, I am not qualified to give you advice. Okay, so let's go into the video now. Hello. So now we will come to the topic of how come I claim to be an atheist and still I put kungumam on my dog's foreheads. Hey, I even put vibhuti and kungumam on myself if the situation demands. Okay, so I'm a cultural Hindu. I was born in a Hindu family, in a Hindu Brahmin family. My friends are mostly Hindus. I live in a Hindu society. So, and I kind of like the fact that I can say that I'm a cultural Hindu and I don't believe in God, and yet I don't invite violence upon myself. I really love this. Okay, it could be better. I could have been born in Norway, but I wasn't. I was born here. So amongst the choices I have here, I find this choice really good. And when you grow up in a particular environment, your sense of beauty, your sense of good taste, your sense of mellifluous music is dictated by your childhood experiences, right? So when I was a young child, and when my mother used to dress up for a wedding with her big kungumam and her silk sari, I used to find her really beautiful. I thought, hey, my mother looks really beautiful. So when you grow up in a particular environment, and when you are comfortable with who you are, I mean, whenever I speak only for myself. When I say when you are comfortable with who you are, I mean when I am comfortable with myself, I think I have not lost the primal sense of what I perceived as beautiful, what I perceived as tasty, what I perceived as mellifluous. So this is why I like Tamil music, I like Tamil food, I like Tamil culture, and I like Hindu culture. Tamil Hindu culture. I really like it most of the times, and those things I don't like, I reject. And I can do that without the fear of inviting violence upon myself. So I have no problems. I'll post a picture of me wearing vibhuti and kungumam. I found it really, really nice because I had a wonderful time with my friend. I was here in a temple for the naming ceremony of his child, and hey, I want to look the part. I don't want to go there and say, hey, no, there is no God and all that. That's not my job. If doing this is going to make the function move along really smoothly, then I can do it. It's not a problem for me at all. So I'm not a political atheist. I don't want to go and convert others. I told you, right? Converting anybody to anything is the most vulgarest, is that even a word? Is the most vulgar of all conversions, right? So my aim is not to change anybody. My aim is not to make others change the way they think. My aim is to make myself a better person, a more peaceful person, a more happy, healthy person. Okay, so this is why I have no problems. If you are religious, you can, as long as you don't impose your will on me, I have no problems. You can do what you want. And some days I will even appear religious and I don't have to explain it to you. I don't owe it to anybody to give an explanation. So this is why some I really love some Carnatic music songs that are sung in praise of gods. I really love it. I love Pattinattar, I love Tirunavukar, I love Tirumular, so I love Manikavasagar because I love the literature and I love the fact that they had enough love on the God. See, I can always say this. I don't know whether God is true or not, but the love they had for the God is true. That you cannot deny. If you read, you will know that they were truly in love with God. It's totally another question to ask if the God itself was real or not. But that's not a question for me to ask, right? I'm here just to enjoy their work. Similarly, I'm here to enjoy the Kungumam. It looks beautiful to me. I'm here to enjoy the Tamil cooking. I'm here to enjoy our Tamil music. So this is why sometimes I appear to be a theist. Okay, Hari asks, how can I stop thinking what others think of me? I have mastered controlling it to some extent, but not fully. Deep inside, everyone is concerned about it, at least 1%. Okay, I already made a video on this. People usually worry about what others think of them because they don't want to accept who they are. They want others to tell them sweet lies, right? So if someone tells me, Ram, you look handsome, you look so slim and all that, I know that they are full of shit, right? Because I know who I am. So once no one knows you better than yourself. Why do you look towards others to tell you who you are? So, and the only reason why you look to others to tell you who you are is because you want sweet lies. So just be honest with yourself, and hey, if all you are worried about others is just 1%, then you are doing much better than me. Okay, so 1% is okay, nothing to worry about. Okay, then somebody asks, Ellarum nalla irupom. Your thoughts about Osho? I don't know anything about Osho, man. He has a beard, and a skull cap. That's all I know. Okay. Rajiv Ganesh asks, have you ever thought about the challenges of being alone in old age when we are less able? Though none of us want to be dependent, it might be inevitable after a particular age if we are still alive. It's likely that we will live longer than our parents. What's your plan? Hey, I have no plan. My wish is to die suddenly and just die quickly. That is my wish. But I don't know whether that will happen or not. But I can't plan my life to have a pleasant death. I can't forgo the joy in life so that when I die, I can have a good death. That makes no sense. So I have thought about the challenges when I become old, and I try to do something to keep myself slim so that I can move around to increase the probability of my mobility. But hey, I may lose a leg tomorrow in an accident, or I may get a stroke and become a vegetable and not even able to do anything for myself. So life is not what you plan it to be, but I refuse to mortgage my today so that I can have a kind of a comfortable death. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. 081 Praveen Raj, what made you change like this? I mean character, any incidents in your younger age? Because while comparing all, you are unique without marriage, isolation and all. No, I am not unique. I may be unique in Indian society, but I'm boringly normal when it comes to people who are honest, independent. These are all my perception, okay? I'm not calling myself honest and independent on an absolute scale, but this is just my feeling about myself. If you're truthful to yourself, then it's not a problem. This is not something great, and I don't do it to impress anybody. I just do it to be peaceful. And what made you change like this? It's very difficult to put your finger on the exact point of time when you changed. I think it's just a collective effect of the total life experiences, and it is still being shaped as we speak. Okay, how can we control anger? Sometimes when we see someone, we can feel the anger inside, even though Food Camp asked this question. When we where is okay, I lost. Sometimes when we see someone, we can feel the anger inside, even though we don't have any relationship with them. Is it normal? No, it's not normal to be angry at people whom you do not know for no reason. So I don't know what you're talking about, Food Camp. I try to be aware of the fact that I'm angry, and I do not make decisions or speak unnecessarily when I'm angry. I still fail, but being aware of the fact that you're getting angry is very important to control anger. Okay, it's more than to control anger. It helps to stop yourself from saying stupid things or making stupid decisions if you are aware. If you teach yourself to become aware that you're angry. Some people are bloody totally, I want to use the F word, but anyway, they are bloody unconscious about their own emotions. They don't even know that they are angry, and they just act out like children having a tantrum. So at least if you can be aware of your emotions, don't make any decisions when you are in ecstasy either. It's equally dangerous. Okay, so hello sir, Suresh asks, hello sir, thanks for taking the time. I am 27, don't want to get married ever as I am not interested. However, my parents aren't ready to accept it. My mom literally said that if you don't marry, we will move out and will not be in touch. I feel responsible, hence agreed and have rejected one alliance. They are still looking, but I can't deny all the alliances. I don't want to end up wasting another girl's life. Any suggestions from your end? I believe you might have faced similar issue, hence asking and want to know how you approach this problem. Okay, so Suresh, very, very, very important, very important, very important. Okay, I am not qualified to advise you. I am just narrating life's experiences. Okay, don't follow my advice. But what happened to me was, yes, like every mother, every average Indian mother thinks that, hey, it's a Ponzi scheme. As far as I'm concerned, it's a Ponzi scheme. Like religion, this social structure is also a Ponzi scheme. They think that they know what's good for you, or when I say they, I mean my own parents. And while they are miserable, while they have constant stress with the family situation, when they have children, when they did not have the resources or the time or the mental stability to have children, they were just physically able to reproduce. That's all. Most parents are physically able to reproduce, but they don't have the resources. That is why they say, hey, you should study well. Oh, you should become successful. Hey, you never hear the Sultan of Oman tell his son that you should study well and you should become successful, because he has so much wealth. Even if his son or daughter flounders, he still has enough resources to make sure that the son or daughter can kind of get along in life, right? But middle class parents, they don't have two pennies to rub together, and still they say, oh, I'll have a child. And then they tell you, when I say they tell you, I mean they tell me that, hey, I know what's good for you, while I have screwed up all my life and I'm miserable for the past 20-25 years, and every day, we have a shouting contest and life is stressful, yet I know what's good for you. I said to my mother, hell no, I will do whatever I can for you. I came back to India to make sure that I was with my mother and my grandfather, because that's what I wanted. I'm not asking them to be grateful for that. I did that because I wanted to do that. But I will not sacrifice my life. I am not a sacrificial lamb, so that, when you die, you can die peacefully thinking that you have done your job. To hell with it. I'm not your puppet. And then once you get into that Ponzi scheme, the chances are very high that you will enforce the same on your children if you happen to have them. So I told my mother that, hey, I can give you whatever I want, I can even give you my life. I can die, but I will not live in misery for the rest of my life to make you happy for a few more years. Okay, so you may want to see your grandchild and play with the grandchild, and you will die in a few years, and then I have to bear the burden for the rest of my life. I have to be responsible for the child. I have to feed it, I have to clothe it, I have to educate it, while I myself feel that I don't have enough for myself. I myself feel that I am not a fully formed human. I am not the best version of myself. While there is still work to be done on myself, how can I claim to guide a helpless, a dependent, and a 100% trusting human being? That is just breach of trust. So I said no. Okay, Hari asks, not sure whether it is right to ask this question, but did you decide to be single because with an Z? Hey Hari, just for your own good, you typed so many alphabets, right? You could easily type because. There is no need to type because with a Z. Okay, this is just my pet peeve, right? Because of anything. He asks, why the hell did I decide to be single? Was it because I had an inferiority complex? Yes, probably I had an inferiority complex, but that's not why I decided to be single. I'm sure my mother would have caught a good girl for me, so that I could be miserable for the rest of my life. I'm sure my mother would have trapped a good girl for me, right? So no, that's not the reason. The reason why I didn't want to get married is because I observed my parents for 25 years. And I realized how miserable they are on a daily basis. And then they normalize that misery. They say, hey son, this is joy. What I'm experiencing, what you're seeing now and what you perceive as stress and anger and conflict, this is joyful life. They told me that lie and I said, go to hell. No way, man. No way. This is an easy question to answer. Okay. Guna Get Carter says, can you post more cooking videos? Okay, I'll try. Srivatsan Jayavelu says, any experience with Rottweiler? Share your thoughts on the same. Thanks. No, I will not. And Srivatsan, this is not an appropriate question. Okay. Burma Kumar asks, as a single man, how do you come to terms with senior living and death? Do you have plan to move to a senior citizen home in the future? I think I've already answered this. Hey, life is not about preparing for death. Hey, you can prepare for death, and yet it is going to be really horrible if you are unlucky. If you are lucky like my grandfather, it's going to be swift and merciful, right? That's just pure luck. But I can't plan my entire life so that I can die peacefully. I can't make life choices that will make me miserable now so that I can die peacefully. It makes no sense. It just means that you don't have anything to be joyful about right now. If you make a choice like that, if you choose misery now so that you can have a lukewarm death, anyway, death is going to be miserable. For most of us, okay, some of them have really swift and beautiful deaths, but if you are making such a choice, it just means that you have nothing to live for now. So, okay, Prasad asks, Ramachandran, what are some of the most important lessons you have learned in your life? Okay, this is a very good question. The most important lesson I have learned in my life is don't take myself too seriously. Don't take my thoughts too seriously. Don't think that I am an educated person. Don't think that I am a honest person. Don't think that I am a person with talent or character or anything. Just live. Just be happy. Don't have an ego. Don't look up to anything. Don't look down upon anything. This is probably one of the most, and do everything joyfully, playfully. Don't think that you need something, you need to get somewhere, you need to achieve something and all that. This is probably one of the most important lessons I've learned, and it took me almost 49 years to learn that lesson. And maybe that lesson will change. Another important lesson, which is kind of an auxiliary, or it can be derived from the main lesson, is that I don't paint myself into a corner. I just do what I feel is right at that moment. because I don't take myself too seriously. So today I say I'm an atheist. Tomorrow, if Mahavishnu and Lakshmi comes in front of me and says, "Hey Ramchandran, you're wrong," I will say, "Okay, I was wrong," and from day after tomorrow, I will become a very religious person. And they show me all the benefits of being a sycophant to them, then I will say, hey, this seems to be a good deal, so I will become a religious person. So I have no qualms about changing my mind based on what I perceive as facts at any given point of time. Okay, Ram Bhera asks, if a friend of mine is underestimating me all the time, do I need to behave the same in return, or no need to keep this type of friend in my life? Hey, I don't know about your friend and all that, but I don't worry about what others think of me. And if something bothers you so much, then I would avoid such situations, because I feel my time here is so precious that I can't waste it on negative things that I cannot control. For example, okay, I'm living right now in a nice place. I could go and live in midst of a dumpster like in Chennai, right? When I'm in Chennai, I'm literally living right next to sewage and garbage. I could do that, but why should I do that? I would rather spend my time here, right? So if something bothers you and you cannot change it, it is better to leave it. This is my opinion about it. I think that completes our question and answer session. Okay, hope it was of some use to you, at least entertainment value. And most importantly, hey, I'm being serious. Please don't take my advice. And I would suggest that you shouldn't take anybody's advice. Really, anyone who says that they are guru, sadguru, paramaguru and all that, hey, I worry about them, because they don't know anything about you, and yet they have the courage, the audacity to say that, hey, I know what's good for you. I can tell you how you should live your life. So, hey, I don't know about them. Maybe they are qualified. I do not know. I can tell you that I'm not qualified. So please don't take anything I say seriously. Okay. Every choice has merits and demerits. Maybe I don't know the demerits of my choices yet. I just think I have figured it out. But maybe in the end, I will be kicking and screaming and saying that, hey, I should have gotten married. I should have been religious. I should have had 2 children. I should have bought a flat in Nanganallur like everybody else. Maybe that's the case. So please, please, please don't take anything I say as advice. I'm just narrating my life's experiences. Thank you.